I shield way too much. I get grabbed a ton. I'm not quite sure like when to walk instead of run, unless they're like, in like a tech chase situation, then I'll like
Mhm.
walk, they're like right there, then I'll like dash and see what they do, and then I'll like do
Okay,
whatever. And then there's move optimization too. I know those are all like super broad
that's
things that
fine.
don't really single answer or even 10 answers. But yeah, those are all things that I tend to struggle with. I'm like, okay, well, why did I pick this move in this situation? I could have done it
Mhm.
goes back to what you said about the fair versus nair on the platform, things like that.
So let's start with the shielding thing first. I would say the number one reason why anyone that I've ever coached in the past shields too much is because their movement or their spacing is off. So the reason why you would run up and do something, let's say I go like this and then I shield, is because I believe that I miss space by up tilt so poorly, or I hit your shield, that I now have to shield or like spot dodge or roll away. Defensive options typically come into play when movement won't save you because you know you've made a mistake, right? It's much easier to, let's say, if I go for a forward tilt right here, it's much easier to spot dodge if you shield that than it is to forward tilt then run, right? Or forward tilt then jump, right? If my spacing is terrible. However, shield for a second. If my spacing is like that, I don't have to do anything, right? If you jump at me with fair, I can shield or I can move out of the way and F smash you for doing that. But if I'm right here and I forward tilt's minus 12 on shield. I can't stop you. You can grab, you can up tilt, or sorry, you can grab, you could up smash, you could fair, you could nair, right? All kinds of bad stuff could happen to me. The number one thing to fix that situation is working on spacing and on movement. As far as the movement part of it, I guess we can segue into this as far as when you should be walking or not. The times that I use walking the most are when I'm under a platform, if someone's on the platform, right? Or if I have a ton of space behind me and I'm trying to get a kill with a down tilt, I will use the entire stage to allow someone to walk towards me and try to overextend, and I'll back up and back up and back up. And if I know that a tipper down tilt or a mid hit down tilt will kill them, I will let them take stage because I want them to dash grab and miss, or dash attack and miss, or side B and miss. And I walk up towards them, I down tilt them, and they're just dead. As far as neutral, or if the game is even, or if we have like center stage together, I typically don't walk that much unless I'm trying to do something super specific, but it's probably going to involve down tilt. As far as I will walk up to somebody, down tilt their shield, then like walk away slightly to get out of the range of their grab, and then I will down tilt them again. I'll show you what I mean. So shield for a second, I'll go like that, walk away, and go like that. So very, like basically half a step. And the reason is so that if I go like this and you down tilt my shield, I try and grab you and I miss, then I get hit. Right? That's like one of the other spots I'll walk. To just walk for the sake of walking, I would do this if I'm trying to get a parry. I'll go like this and trying to get like a parry from time to time. Even from this parry though, I want parry into down tilt, right? I'm probably not gonna go parry into like dash grab because if I'm gonna do that, I'd rather just miss. I'd rather just whiff punish your attack, whatever you're trying to do. Because if you're trying to jump at me with like a fair or a nair and try and parry that, then grab, I should have just stayed in shield, right? Or I should have just moved out of the way and then like side bead or dash grabbed after. If I think you're gonna go like this, then panic with your own shield. But I dash out of the way, get a grab. I'd do something like that instead. To just use walking as a constant as far as like in neutral because I just want to do this, I probably wouldn't do it that much with Falco. I definitely do it with Marth, but he also has the fastest walk in the game and he has taper forward tilt, which can just make you explode. So that's a very different context for him. For the most part, I would be dashing, right? I'd be using like slingshot. I'd be using RAR to try and get in with stuff, whether it's falling up air on shield, because falling up is -5, so you can go like falling up air spot dodge, falling up air up tilt, falling up air rising up air, falling up air shield, whatever you want, as long as your opponent doesn't have like a frame 4 option out of shield. I guess as far as other parts of context for walking is if I have a pretty sizable lead or there's potential that you are going to be scared because you're at a very high percent, I'll use walking to intimidate somebody. So come down for a second. So let's say if you're at like 140, I might go, I'm going to wait for you to make some sort of mistake. So let's say, for example, you throw out like an up smash and you completely miss. After that, I will walk towards you, or I'll like dash walk, and then if you happen to shield, I'm just gonna push you, right? And I'll jab you, dash back and up smash to catch a roll, or I'll push you until I feel like your fight or flight response is going to kick in. So I'll push you like this or like this, and then as soon as I think you're going to jump out of shield or try and grab me or up smash or something, I'll just up smash first. That would be a very hard read, and it also depends super heavily on you actually being scared. If you're not scared, that's not gonna work. think with regards to walking, that's basically the most, for the most part, that's where I would. I'm not going to walk around on a platform. I'm not going to do this. As far as ledge trapping goes, I might like, you could like do forward tilt, walk back, forward tilt, but even then you could just do this and the dash back, forward tilt, so not, it doesn't really matter too much there. Doing like down air into like walking back, I probably wouldn't do this. I probably wouldn't do that. I'd probably just dash back. So even at the ledge, if I want to walk around a get up attack, I'd like go in and out of the range of where I think someone's going to actually swing, and then I could like go for a forward tilt, down tilt, something here, right? But even then, like I don't really use that very much. What was the third part of that as well? There's a third one.
It was
Move optimization.
Move optimization. Yeah.
Okay. So with regards to move optimization, there has to be some context behind that. Because if you could say, well, what's the best combo in the game for Falco? It's like, well, depends on what you can land. Because if you can get an active hop, then do that. But if you can't land a grab, you're not doing it. Or if you can't get like a down air at like 5, you're not doing it. Or an up tilt at 30, you're not doing it. So as far as optimization, I can say this as far as optimizing crossing somebody up, this is something I have to practice for a very long time, is if I ever get behind somebody's shield or behind somebody and I like, let's say I miss them or whatever, they throw something out, very often a lot of players will just turn around with a forward tilt like that, right? And you have to try and train yourself to not panic there, and you should be getting behind someone and turning around with an up tilt or turning around with a down tilt and killing them. The biggest thing as far as optimizing a move in that situation is to try not to autopilot, to just panic and turn around with a forward tilt, because you can do this to about 300% and they're never gonna die. You can practice that. So let's say you jump over with like a nair, turn around, up tilt, jump over with a nair, turn around, up tilt, right? Jump over with a nair, turn around, down tilt, and you want to try and get used to getting that turnaround, and that would be optimizing that very, very heavily. Grab combos, up throw under platforms, why would you not? Down throw if there's no platforms or against floaty characters. So if you're trying to do like an active hop against like Peach or Ness or Ivysaur, someone who's very, very floaty, doesn't really work that well unless you actually time out or space your double jump so you get a little bit higher. So you actually have to manually make sure you're not getting like an actual IDJ. It's a little bit slower, I guess you could say. Also, if you notice, I'm just doing it out of thin air here. So this is something you have to practice too, right? So I'm doing my IDJ without like buffering it, right? Like that. This takes a lot of time to practice because a lot of players will have to like do up tilt first and then try to buffer it. If you're cracked, you can just do it. But even then, sometimes I'll mess it up from time to time. Right. So that's something I'd practice too, is just knowing how to do that or practice doing the IDJ stuff. I'm trying to think what else. Yeah, nairing through platforms, right? Also knowing which platforms you can back air through. So basically just battlefield platforms, you can go for a back air and actually get like a sweet spot. Some characters, if it's like Kirby or Jigglypuff or Ivysaur, anyone who has like a wide body across the bottom of the platform, you can back air like this and actually get a sweet spot back air. But if it's like just their toe, more often than not, you're going to get like a sour spot or just completely miss. So know that you have to go for an air or go for like an up air, something like that. Go for up smash, right? Or you have to jump past the platform like this. I guess as far as optimization of moves, it could also be platform play. If you're ever going to pressure a platform, try your best to like go around it and come back down, or like go like this through it. You don't want to ever pressure a platform and land on it with somebody unless your intent is to come up like that and get a grab, right? If someone's up here in shield and scared and they think you're going to go like this, you could come down and go for a grab right here, but it's just fast to go for the wave land, right? Wave land, get a grab, go for whatever you want off the top. I'd honestly say as far as knowing what move you should do in which situation, really look at your hitboxes and look where they actually go through platforms, how far they reach in front of you, your range. Like for example, I know for a fact that my down tilt reaches farther than my forward tilt. These are things you just have to know. My down smash does not outrange my down tilt. I have more range on the back hit of my down smash than I do on the front. So if I can turn it around, or if someone's behind me, I might take the gamble of doing a down smash facing backwards because it reaches that tiny bit further. And in some cases, that actually matters. So those are the types of things you should know. And if it's looking it up, that's one thing, but it's also paying attention to even your own replays and saying, okay, I'm going to watch myself play. And every time me and my opponent collide, if I lose the interaction, was it because of timing, or was it because the move I chose was actually wrong? And how often do I choose that same thing that is consistently wrong? So for example, running up and going for an up tilt and your opponent just goes for a dash attack and they just clap you for that, or they F smash you or forward tilt you, or they outrange your up tilt in some way. How many times could you have gone for a down tilt and caught them, but you went for the less horizontal range up tilt instead because that's the autopilot, right? And you're choosing the wrong move. That happens to me all the time, and I have to actively pay attention and say, okay, if I'm playing against a character like, let's say, Captain Falcon, if he side Bs towards me, if I go for up tilt, I'm going to lose it every single time. But I know for a fact that if I down tilt his, I can get underneath his side B hitbox, underneath his arm, and I'll hit him in the knees or in the ankle, and I'll actually beat his move, even though he has super armor and I don't. Super niche, but it's important to know this stuff. And at higher levels of play, you're going to do this within your own region, I would say, is most important. Look up the characters that you're actually going to be fighting. Don't just start with Mario, then go DK, then Link, and go on forever like that, because if you're never going to fight those characters, it doesn't matter. You should know Pyra/Mythra, you should know Wolf, you should know Joker, you should know Byleth, you should know Fox, you should know Snake, Wario, PT, like stuff like that. You should know those characters. I would say you could know Steve, but there's not tons of Steves, but eventually you're going to run into one and be like, okay, well, what the hell? Same thing with Min Min too. Not tons of Min Mins, but you should know about Min Min. I think move optimization is also just a fancier way of saying learning a matchup, honestly. Because if you play against every character in the exact same way for yourself, you're not optimizing anything. You're just playing the way you want to, as if you're fighting Sandbag, basically. Because it doesn't matter who they are or what they're doing, your thing just works, which is not the case.